Welcome to Green River College's GatorCast. This is Green River College's podcast series. This is Suzanne Johnson, president of Green River College, bringing you an episode today on Running Start. And not just Running Start, but Running Start students and how to get an associate's degree if that's in your plans while completing high school at the same time. Now, if you're not a Running Start student or you don't know somebody who's a Running Start student, I'd still tune into this episode because I suspect that our conversations are going to unveil some other interesting information for anybody contemplating being a student at Green River College, especially if you're at the front end of your college career. So today I am joined with two people from our Running Start office, which is located on our ground floor of the Student Affairs building. We've got Lindsay Morris and Shweta Singh. So, hello.
Hello. Hello.
All right. Well, what we've been doing in most of these podcasts when we have a guest is I'd love it if you could say a little bit about yourself. How did you get to Green River? What are you doing? You know, so many students that are out there think that people that are in these offices behind desks are a certain kind of person. In fact, they're just like anybody else. And in fact, students are just like the people who work here, and the people who work here are just like our students. So I don't know who wants to start. Lindsay, Shweta, who wants to
I'll
start?
So my name is Lindsay Morris. I'm actually a Green River alum.
You went to Green River?
I went to Green River, and some teachers who are still teaching, I had them as a teacher when I was a student. So
are you saying that they're very old, or you're just very young?
I am saying I have fond memories of these instructors.
Okay, all right.
No age comment, just great instructors here. I was a Green River student. I actually was involved in student leadership in the CLEO program. I had plans to be an elementary school teacher, and when I was a student, it was great. Central Washington had their last 2 years of their bachelor's program at Green River, so I kind of never left Green River. I worked part-time when I was finishing up my degree through Central on campus in the Running Start office part-time, and eventually I decided education, elementary ed, was not for me. So a job opened up at Green River, and I just kind of moved my way around in different positions, and here I am in Running Start again, where I started part-time.
Well, and for the student listeners out there, I hope you're making a note of this because so many people that we're having on the podcast are sharing similar stories in terms of career plans and career changes. We had Josh Steffieri here recently talking about career exploration and figuring out who you are, where you're going, where you want to go. And so oftentimes students believe that when they're in college, they need to figure this all out while they're in college, and that's the end of that, and they never are going to contemplate these questions again or have a change in their career plans or anything like that. So I think that's really terrific. Hey, can you just tell me a little bit about CLEO program?
Yeah, CLEO, I may have changed the name, but it's the Community Leadership Education and Outreach. So they're actually paid student leadership positions on campus. And so my first job was special events, music, and entertainment coordinator. So I got to bring on acts on campus and promote different fun events, to spring break trip, all sorts of fun things. So I know that opportunity still exists for students today. So it kind of changed my life. It was a great opportunity for me. Yeah.
That's really great to note. Running Start students or not a Running Start student here at the college, I think Lindsay's sharing a really good life experience for her that I think applies to most, which is get involved. There's a lot going on this campus. All right. And then we have Shweta.
Yeah, so my name's Shweta. I'm one of the educational planners right now in Running Start, and I'm actually also a Green River alumni. I was actually in the Running Start program myself. So
no way.
I did
the
the
things you
Running Start
learn when you
program.
do these podcasts.
I know.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So being able to work and give back to this community, it really just means so much to me. Like, I'm really passionate about what I do. And for all the students out there, I'm a first-generation student of color, and so part of wanting to come back and give to this community was being able to support students who are first generation. I know it can be really intimidating. When I was doing Running Start, I was definitely in your shoes. I had all these questions, and it can be scary sometimes to go out and to figure out, who you can trust and who you can talk to. So being able to, again, give back to that community has meant a lot to me. I graduated from Running Start and went on to UW-Tacoma to get my undergraduate degree in business management. And similarly to Lindsay, and I think to the point Dr. Johnson just made earlier, I also had a change in my pathway. I realized from my student leadership experience at UW-Tacoma that I really liked working with students and working around diversity and equity because I was in the student activities board as the issues and controversies coordinator. And so it was at that moment that I was like, business is great and all, but I think I actually want to work in higher education. And it just so happened that the year that I graduated, a couple of months later, they posted a position for a program coordinator in Running Start. So I started off as a program coordinator in Running Start, and then shortly thereafter, there was an opportunity for an advisor. And I think even when I had my interview to be a program coordinator, I knew that my goal was to be advising students. And so that's where I am right now, and I'm finishing up my Master's of Education. And that's something that I tell my students all the time that, we know you're 16 years old, and right now we're asking you, what are you passionate about? But we also don't want you to think that you have to be stuck in a box, that it's very well possible for you to grow and for you to change your mind, and that whichever pathway you choose to go with, we're here to support you through
Right.
that.
And changing your mind is a positive thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
not a negative. So that means you both went to local high schools.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So do you want to do a shout out to your high school?
Yeah, go Ravens.
Yes, go Conks. I went to Kentwood High School.
Wow. Okay. So I suspect that there are a lot of people out there listening to us that are thinking they're trying to figure out what year you graduated. I'm not going to ask that. From high school, it's like, do I know these people?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not for me.
So, first, I think, especially since we have people listening to this podcast that are community members, they're not necessarily students at
Mhm.
Green River or have been to Green River at any point in time. What is Running Start?
Yeah, that's a good question. So Running Start, gosh, if I remember from my the state definition, Running Start is a dual credit program for juniors and seniors in high school, where students have the opportunity to take college classes at the college campus, and the credits they earn at Green River count both on their Green River college transcript and their high school transcript at the same time. So it's against dual credit program. Credits count in two places, and tuition is free. Basically, it's paid for through the high school.
Dual credit, as Lindsay was just pointing out, it means it counts in two places. So it counts for the student's high school diploma graduation requirements, but it also counts as credits being taken at college toward a college degree. So that's
Absolutely.
dual credit. And then it's free. Can you
Tu-
say a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's tuition free. So the cost of college is more than just tuition. There's tuition, there are student voted fees, class fees, books. Of course, you have to figure out how you're going to get to campus because we don't have a bus to and from the high schools, and then other related supplies and materials. So Running Start covers just the cost of tuition of all those things I listed.
Which
So
is substantial.
it's substantial.
Um,
A full-time tuition, 15 credits, is about $1,300 per quarter.
$1,300 per
$1,300
quarter.
per quarter.
Okay.
Yep. And
But still very economical and affordable compared to other institutions,
yes,
colleges,
absolutely.
universities. Right?
Absolutely. And so a typical student, if they're going full-time, taking 15 credits per quarter, what they're left with paying for, what we see when students register, if they're taking 15 credits, it's about $180 to $250 in fees for the quarter.
Student fees and then
Yes.
their cost of books and
Books.
transportation.
Which vary greatly. Now, we also have a fee waiver and book loan program for students who are on free reduced lunch at their high school, meet certain income eligibility guidelines, all those kinds of things. We actually waive student voted fees, so the cost drops even more. So where before it was maybe $185 to $250, the cost per quarter could drop to $0 or $50, $20. I mean, it varies, but I haven't seen more for a student who's eligible for the fee waiver program. I haven't seen more than about $106 for a quarter, and then we can lend them books from our book loan program as well. So again, it brings the cost down significantly. So if families are out there and they think, gosh, Running Start's a little expensive, there are ways it can be made affordable.
Sure. So Running Start is a statewide program, as Lindsay was describing, that some states have. Not all states in the country have this, but this is for juniors and seniors in high school that meet requirements, eligibility requirements, to be able to essentially complete their high school degree while attending Green River College. So, what do most Running Start students do when they're here? Are they simply completing their high school degree and being here, or are they achieving a degree in college? What's the experience of most Running Start students here?
This past spring of 2018, we actually had over about 300 Running Start students earn their AA degree in our program. And these students, they pretty much attended through our program full time for 2 years. And they met with their Running Start advisor early on to create their ed plan. When we meet with students to create their ed plan, we want to accomplish three main things. So, first, like you mentioned, these are juniors and seniors in the high school. So at the front end is definitely their high school graduation requirements. So making sure that we're weaving in their high school graduation requirements through our dual credit program. But with careful planning, we can also incorporate those high school graduation requirements into an AA degree, as well as major prerequisites if they know what university to want to go to or what they want to major in.
Okay, so let's take a pause here. Bunch of things that, not all of our listeners might know about. First of all, you mentioned Running Start advisors. Where are they? Are they in the high school? Are they in an office in Running Start? And Running Start office is in our Student Affairs building. So where are Running Start advisors?
Yeah, so the Running Start Advisors, we are located in the Student Affairs building in room 122. And right now there's about three of us, and we each have like a caseload of students based on
Mhm.
last name.
Okay, and you're mentioning an AA. And for those who are listening that might not be aware of that, what is that?
Yeah, so that's our associate in arts degree, and we have a direct transfer agreement as well. Most Running Start students go for that degree, especially if they are undecided on what they want to do, because it allows us to weave their high school graduation requirements in, as well as knocking out some of their general education requirements
For a college degree.
for the college degree.
Okay. And you mentioned an ed plan. What's
Yes,
an ed
the ed
plan? You mean
plan.
an educational plan? Is that a
Yes.
plan of what courses you take? Is that what we're meaning?
Yes, really, I would say the educational plan is the star of the show. So, the educational plan, Running Start students, and any student really at Green River College will hear that over and over again. So, the educational plan is a student meeting with their advisor one on one for about an hour. And then we sit down and we talk to them about what plans they have, what career they're interested in, and we can talk through those things if they may not know the answers, and potentially plan out what they'll do in their time here. And so, for some students, that might be 1 year. For some students, that might be 2 years, and for other students, that could even be 3 or 4, depending on their pathway.
Excellent. And how do students who are in high school who might be listening to this, or there's somebody that knows somebody that's in high school that they think might be interested in doing Running Start? I mean, how does a student identify themselves as a Running Start student? How does that happen? How does it begin?
Yeah, that's a great question. We're hoping high school counselors out there are promoting the Running Start program and saying, hey, this is another way to earn credits, college credits, and earn your high school diploma. If they don't hear about it through their high school, they're certainly welcome to, I guess, number one, visit the website. Coming up every winter, we offer information sessions, typically January through May.
Okay, so a website. So where do they find the Running Start link
Yeah.
for our website?
So our website is greenriver.edu/running start.
So
greenriver.edu/running.
greenriver.edu/running start. And we're going to
Easy.
have these additional resources. We're probably going to be talking about some other materials today with this episode. So if you go to greenriver.edu/GatorCast, you'll find the additional resources listed to this episode. So we'll probably put that link there too.
Yeah. So I think students could start by, going to the website, seeing what the steps of getting started are, which I'll cover in a moment. Coming to our information sessions to go more in depth about what it is and how to get all the details of it. But basically, to identify as a Running Start student in their sophomore year, students would
In high school.
sophomore year in high school, students would apply for admission if they think they want to do it. They would apply for admission at Green River. There may be some confusing terms on there where it's like, when did you graduate? And
Yeah.
you haven't graduated yet. That's okay. You can still fill out the application. They apply for admission, and we need to see that students are eligible for English 101 because Running Start covers college level classes. So basically, show us at your college level, you can be eligible for Running Start. And so typically that's by coming to take a test placement assessment at the testing center, also in the same building as the Running Start office, the Student Affairs building. It's not timed, it's free, and students can come on a drop-in basis to take it, and you get your results right away. So you know right away if you qualify for Running Start.
So it seems to me that they might want to, people who are listening might want to make a phone call to your office.
Yes.
So what's your
Most
number?
Yeah, if we have a direct line, it's
Yes.
253-288-3380.
So they can
Yeah.
call, find these steps out
Yeah.
in terms of what to do first, second, third, and so
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. And then, of
Okay.
course, meeting with the high school counselor is really important. So we
Yes.
stay on top of graduation requirements. And they're the ones who actually sign the form saying, yep, you can do Running Start. And students turn that back into us and get going with orientation and stuff. So, yeah.
Okay. So it seems to me there are a couple things that are jumping out in this conversation. Number one is if you're thinking about being a Running Start student, contacting your high school guidance counselor, having
Mhm.
those conversations, obviously speaking with your family as well.
Mhm.
And you've got a number and a website that you can go to here in terms of getting potentially involved in the Running Start program. And for those of you who are listening out there that has a high school student or knows someone who does, same information applies.
Mm.
So, what I've heard a lot about at the campus, and everybody on campus knows every month I do Pizza with the President. And I ask students all sorts of questions. And of course, it's their chance to talk to me about questions they have and concerns they have. We have a lot of Running Start students at Green River College. In fact, we have over 2,000 Running Start students this year at Green River. I think many families have recognized the quality of education and the great affordability and in terms of financially planning for one's college degree, 4-year degree. This is a great first 2 years
Mhm.
location to do that. But a lot of Running Start students say to me, I really would like to know how I can finish my high school degree and get my college associate of arts degree at the same time.
Mhm.
So, what would you say to them?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question. And we've definitely tried to connect with students more and listen to student voice too when it comes to how we can create that bridge for them to be able to have that understanding. I think it goes back to that educational planning appointment. So when we have running start students come in through their onboarding process, they do an in-person, currently it's called a rap session.
A rap
A
session.
rap
Yeah.
session.
Oh,
We
Sorry.
don't actually
No,
rap.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
We don't rap,
Oh,
unfortunately.
it's a rep.
Not yet.
It's a rep session.
It is.
And why is it called this?
So it stands for registration, advising, and planning. So when they
Okay,
come
so
to
it is RAP.
It is.
yes.
This
correct.
becomes really important because I anticipate that what Shweta is going to tell me now is the way a Running Start student is able to complete their high school graduation requirements and to be able to complete their college degree at Green River at the same time requires planning,
Mm-hmm.
many conversations in terms of advising to make sure that they take the right courses for the terms they're going to be here. So we're going to see where this conversation goes. But okay, you have a wrap session, registration, advising, and planning. And I bet those are all capital letters.
Yes, yes. So the students, they attend their wrap session, and throughout that orientation, the wrap session, we really try to emphasize the importance of that educational plan, creating the educational planning appointment. In fact, at their wrap session, we hand out a packet that even has a first quarter checklist. And the first thing on that checklist is to create an educational plan with your Running Start advisor.
Which are advisors at our college.
Correct. Um, and and this is something that I think is great for listeners to know. Sometimes I know students might think that the Running Start department of Green River College in general is closed in the summer, but we're not. And for the most part, we're here during like any type of break a high school student especially might have. We really encourage students to make that educational plan, and that's where we can talk to them and really help guide them through what high school graduation requirements they have left, what degree that they would like to pursue, and we really can actually help map out that pathway for them.
Registration, advising, and planning in terms of being able to get the completion of your high school diploma as well as a college degree. Now, you mentioned, Shweta, earlier that about 300 students,
Mm-hmm.
is that like any given year, 300 students are able to complete their high school degree and graduate with their AA from college here?
Oh, any given year, gosh. So that's a good
Might
question.
vary.
It might, yeah, it would vary. Over the last few years, we've certainly seen it increase.
Yes,
I
an
think last
increase.
year we had about the year before that, 2017, probably had about 275. The prior year was about 250. So
Okay.
we're seeing an increase. And of course, increasing with our population as well.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. So I guess the first thing that listeners need to know to this question, is it even possible for a Running Start student to get both their high school diploma and their 2-year degree from Green River at the same time? The answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
However, it absolutely is dependent upon planning ahead
Hmm.
and
Yep.
having more than one advising session to make sure that the courses that are being taken are the right courses and you will still be completing on time.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So then what about other students? Do all Running Start students want to complete an associate's degree and complete their high school diploma at the same time?
Yeah. No, not all of them.
It sounds like the majority might not want to,
Yeah.
right? It might
Well,
not be their plan.
yeah, a large majority do attend full time, about
Mhm.
15 credits per quarter. So Running Start covers 2 academic years of tuition, junior year, senior year.
Of high
So
school.
of high school, yes. And so uh, to get it is possible to do an AA degree
Mhm.
within 2 years, assuming a student goes full time. That 15 credits per quarter
Yep.
is college level in English, which is a prerequisite for Running Start, and is college level in math. So that sometimes can alter the 2-year plan for some students is the math level. But yeah, not all students start Running Start their beginning of their junior year. Some
Mhm.
students start their senior year. Some
Oh, so this is
students,
important.
yeah.
So you don't actually have to start in your junior year.
Yeah, yeah, and you don't have to start at the beginning of fall either. We have
Exactly.
students starting in January in winter and then in April for spring quarter.
So you can begin Running Start at any point in your
Mhm.
junior or your senior year to
Mm-hmm.
take a certain number of courses at Green River toward your high school diploma.
Yeah, yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a pretty great flexible program. There are many reasons students want to do Running Start. So, a lot of students, one of the first questions we ask in an advising session is it your goal to earn an AA degree while you're here? A
Mhm.
lot of times it's yes. Sometimes it's like, no, I just want to take more challenging courses, or I've run out of classes at the high school to take, or I want to take this specific foreign language, or I mean,
So this is
it's
a
all over the
great
board.
question to maybe ask, and
Yeah.
might have been good to ask, earlier on in our episode here. But what are the reasons that students become a Running Start student? You've just listed several.
Yeah. Gosh, I mean, we ask students in the orientation, why are you here?
We do. We do.
We
Seems like
hear,
a good question to
Yes.
ask.
yeah, what brings you to Green River? We hear some things where students aren't happy with their high school environment, or they want more of a challenge. They want a more mature learning environment. What else do they say?
We've had students tell us that it helps with their transition from a college to a 4-year if they plan to stay, or even for our students who plan to stay here and earn our 4-year bachelor's degrees, it's even helped them there as well. We also have students who attend here if they don't want to just follow the traditional pathway and maybe pursue like a trades program such
Mhm.
as automotive, IT, carpentry. So yeah, there's a variety of reasons that students might attend Running Start. And kind of jumping back to something earlier, I think it's also important to acknowledge, and like we really want to put this out there, that if you are a student who didn't do Running Start, let's say fall and winter of your junior year, but you want to start spring, we can definitely help you navigate that, and we would still encourage it. Because even if that means you graduate from Green River or you stay at Green River and you only earn 50 or 60 college credits and not 90, that still can help you and really empower you and help you be successful and navigate college from there on out. So,
That's really great. So once you're a junior in high school, you could begin Running Start at any number
mhm.
of points in those final 2 years. Some Running Start students are here with the goal of getting not just their high school diploma, but also their 2-year associate's degree. But clearly, most of our Running Start students don't do that. So let's talk about Running Start students after they complete their high school diploma. Where do most Running Start students go? Do they stay with us for their associate's degree? Do they transfer? What happens?
Yeah, I would say the majority are they transfer. They want to go with their class, their graduating class, transfer to university, whatever credits they have,
Mhm.
and go from there. We do have a large number that do stay with us to finish their AA degree. Maybe they're finishing prerequisites for like ultrasound technology,
Sure.
things like that, or pursue one of our bachelor's programs as well. But I would say for the most part, students still transfer to the university even if they don't finish their AA with us. But we certainly, as what I said, will help with them with a plan to say, hey, and sometimes it's more advantageous to stay and finish an associate degree
Mm-hmm.
before transferring, and in some cases it's not. So we're not we're certainly not a one size fits all. We want to make sure we do what's right for the students, depending on their goals. And maybe an AA degree isn't the best thing. Maybe based on where they're transferring and what their program is, it makes sense to do just the prerequisites here. And we work with them and connecting them with an advisor at the transfer institution.
Sure. So this brings up some other important information in terms of Running Start, which is all the credits that a Running Start student is achieving here,
hmm
completing here in terms of coursework, are transferable credits for the most part. Is that
Yeah.
true?
Yes. Yeah. And so when a student takes classes at Green River, we've heard this term. They'll ask, will my Running Start credits transfer? Well, they're not Running Start credits. They're Green River College
College
credits.
credits. Right.
Yeah,
These are college
absolutely.
credits.
Yes. And so really it's up to the institution they're transferring to how they're going to accept Green River's credits. But yeah, we're an accredited institution. Credits transfer really well. We actually have the direct transfer agreement with
Mm-hmm.
in-state institutions, where if a student earns the associate degree, it transfers nicely as a package to most of those four-year institutions.
Right. So for the listeners here, we're talking about direct transfer articulations and credits going to another institution. We have a three-part episode series on transfer, and so a lot of the information that we're talking about right now will be able to be found in even more detail in
Mm-hmm.
terms of exploring transfer, planning on your transfer destinations in terms of schools that you might want to go to after Green River, and how to actually do the application for transferring to another institution. So keep your eye on our greenriver.edu/GatorCast for already aired episodes, as this might be, or soon to be aired episodes. So, getting back to the transfer, then,
hmm
it's important for us to remember, especially for those students who are running START, because they have that kind of, tag, label, or name to them. Yes, they are running START students, but they are taking Green River College credits. Green River College provides post secondary education, right? College
Yep.
education that is coursework that you receive at UW, WSU,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
name your institution. We're a college like any other college.
Yep.
So, of course, these credits are going to transfer,
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah,
right?
and out-of-state schools too. I've heard of some of our previous Running Start students transferred to a small private institution in Pennsylvania, and they took all of our Running Start students' credits.
So, what's some of the best advice that you could be giving to current students that are running START, that are at our college right now, about anything and everything? What's the
Yeah.
best advice you could be giving to our currently enrolled running START students?
Yeah, well, I'm going to say it again, the educational plan. If the student hasn't made an educational plan, or maybe they made one with us their junior year and they haven't checked back in on it since then, please, 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 feel free to call the Running Start office again.
And
Stop
what's that number again?
253 288 3380. Or you can stop by our office as well. Again, that's the Student Affairs Building, ground floor, room 122. And feel free to schedule an appointment with us so that we can double check on that ed plan. Just make sure you're, on top of your high school graduation requirements and you have a plan that works best for you. And then aside from that, something that I always talk to students about at our orientation sessions is just, encouraging them to use the campus resources that we offer here at Green River College.
So
So,
let's talk about that.
yeah, so some to list just a few, we have our tutoring center, which that in itself has the math learning center, the public speaking center, the writing center,
Mhm.
and then we also have student life, the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. If students would like to get involved on campus with like student leadership positions, or just to make connections. We also have disability support services. We also have the counseling center. There's a number, and this is just to list a few, of resources that we have on the Green River College campus. And so I really encourage students to get connected. And then again, if you're a first generation student, like I said, myself, I was one too. I still am, of course. So as a first generation college student, sometimes maybe you don't even know what to ask. So that's where the educational planning comes in because maybe we can help. figure out what some of those resources might be that could help you out.
It's so important that you shared that point, which is sometimes you don't know what to ask, or sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I know, speaking with students, they sometimes feel, and they'll even share with me that they feel embarrassed about asking a particular question, or they feel like they should know the answer
Right.
already,
Exactly.
and that somehow there's something wrong with them that they don't know the answer to the question they have, not realizing that they have a question. Well, 100 other students have that
Mm-hmm.
same question.
Exactly.
That this is a normal thing.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, it's quite typical to have the exact questions that a particular student might have. And for you listeners out there, I can guarantee that whatever questions you have about this topic, other students have it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And to encourage students to come and see you, come call you.
Mm-hmm.
Is there an email address that they can also reach out and
Yes.
utilize?
Oh, yes. Everyone has access in the office to
Yes.
respond to emails. So
Everybody.
our email is hopefully pretty easy, runningstart@greenriver.edu.
Running start at greenriver.edu. So call, you can email, you
Mm-hmm.
can drop into the office, make an appointment.
Mm-hmm.
That's really great advice. What other kinds of advice do we
Gosh.
have?
Shweta said, the educational plan is kind of the star of the show, but plans don't work if you're not successful in your classes. So really important things like communication. Um, if you've been through our rap session, that's like the main thing we harp on. Check your Green River student email. Communicate with your instructor. If you have something going on in your life that is an extenuating circumstance, let them know so that they can hopefully work with you on those things. Communicate with your parents, your guardians, so they can help support you, troubleshoot through things. Communicate with your high school counselor, again, so they can support you and troubleshoot with you. And you don't necessarily have to overshare, obviously, but the more that you can let staff know what's going on, the more we can provide help. So, communicate, utilize tutoring resources, ask for help. As the second you think, I don't think that test went so well, go talk to your instructor. That's a great thing about Green River, I think, is small class sizes, access to instructors. Dr. Johnson said students are shy. Please try not to be shy. I know it's easier said than done. I was that student too,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, just ask for help. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you.
I want to really emphasize that. And for our listeners out there, I know that sometimes people are sort of surprised seeing me walk around campus. In fact, today I'm sitting in the sound booth with Lindsay and Shweta and Carl Smith, our magnificent podcast guru here, who's making all these things happen for us. I'm sitting here with jeans and a
Mm-hmm.
Gator Life, Student Life sweatshirt. For all of you who are students, the staff and the faculty at this college are here for you. It's not just coming to a class, listening to what your instructor is saying, your faculty member is saying, or completing labs. We are all human beings who have been your age before. We're all human beings who have been in college before. Many of us, not all of us at the college, might have a college degree, but many of us do. We were all in high school,
Mm-hmm.
and try to be courageous and believe in yourself. And when you have a question, or when you have a problem, or when you're worried or concerned, frustrated, whatever the mood might be in terms of how you're doing in a class, or questions about what you need to do next term, your class instructors, your faculty members at this college, your teachers, the staff that work in our offices, like Lindsay and Shweta, who are talking to you right now, and even me, when I'm on campus and mingling, we are all here to answer your questions, or if we don't have the answer, help you find the person on our campus that does. Be brave, believe in yourself, and reach out to the people who are here to help you. That's really great advice.
Yeah.
So, in terms of resources, what kinds of resources do you have available in terms of?
Running Start students. We are working hard on a great series of workshops for our Running Start students. We realize that many students are here full time and so miss some of these post-secondary planning and transfer things, financial aid. So on a monthly basis, we're hosting financial aid workshops, transferring, writing a personal statement, identity workshops, personal identity workshops, and stress relief. We're
Stress
partnering
management.
with different departments to bring uh, really relevant workshops for our high school students who are in the Running Start program.
That's terrific. And I hear two themes here, workshops in terms of current activities that Running Start students need to be aware of, workshops in terms of transfer, and then even more interestingly enough, workshops around identity exploration,
Mhm.
which is all about learning about who you are. You might be wondering where you want to go in your life, what you want to do in your life. The beginning of answering those questions is getting to know who you are better as a person. You can't answer the question about what you want to study, what you want to do in your life, or what your career will be unless you have some sense about who you are as a person. So, all of those resources that were just listed, including some others like high school equivalency guides, what a degree audit is,
Mm-hmm.
and a tutoring and resource center that was already mentioned, and Running Start workshop schedules. These
Yeah.
are all resources that we're going to have listed on this podcast episode, and you can find those at greenriver.edu/GatorCast. This episode will be Running Start and Achieving Your Associates of Arts degree. So you'll see that. You can click on it for the additional resources information. I want to thank Lindsay and Shweta for being here today. Any last call to action for our students?
Reach out to us, please.
Mhm.
If you have any questions, I can't tell you how many times I have met with a student who did start late because they didn't think they could do the program or because, they didn't know where to go. So again, our phone number is 253-288-3380. If you have any questions about the program, whether or not you're eligible, how to apply, what that process looks like, please reach out and we will do our best to support you and help you navigate through the system.
And for any folks out there who are not current Running Start students, or they may know some high school age students who'd be interested in Running Start, again, we have information sessions coming up. So visit our website again, greenriver.edu/Running Start for the details on signing up, times, location, etc.
All right. Excellent. Thanks so much. And
Thank
thank you
you.
all
Thank
for
you.
listening. Remember, subscribe to this podcast at greenriver.edu/GatorCast. You'll find opportunity there. Click to subscribe. We'll see you next time.